Hi, and welcome to my Detox and Cleanse blog. I wanted to talk today about how to cleanse or detoxify the body properly. So the first thing we're going to look at is why people actually cleanse. A lot of people these days, detoxing has kind of become a fad for weight loss, and that is definitely one of the benefits or side effects if it's done properly. So I guess that's the number one reason that people kind of head to detox. But I really don't like the word detox. I prefer cleansing the body, and I prefer a long-term approach to healthy eating, which we'll kind of get into in a minute at the end of the post. Another reason that we want to kick off some kind of, whatever the healthy eating change is that we could be feeling a little bit heavy, we could be feeling tired, we could be feeling fatigued. We could have toxicity issues. So we might know that we've been eating too much of the bad things, or the things that we know are not good for us, and maybe we're looking to reduce our toxicity load. And the other reason that people tend to go for a cleanse or a detox is if they have a health issue, quite a serious health issue, or a gut issue. So if there's any of you out there listening that have gut problems, I want you to pay particular attention to what I have to say. So the mistakes that we make with cleansing. Number one, wrong timing. A lot of people associate cleansing or detoxing with stripping the body by, say, fasting or juice cleansing or taking away everything that you love. It's why most people fail. But the issue with doing it at the wrong time is that, let's say you do a juice cleanse in the middle of winter. That's actually really, really not great for the body. In winter, the body needs warming foods and not cooling foods. Some people try and detox too quickly when it comes to timing. So we try and just lose weight in a week, take out everything that we love, and kind of strip the body. And what happens when we start to detoxify or take out, I guess, the naughty things that we like to consume, is that the body, and also when you reduce the amount of food that you're consuming, is that a lot of the toxicity that can be sitting in the tissues or the digestive system is released. Okay, so the body actually has time, especially if it's accompanied with, say, herbs and things like that, to kind of speed up that process. The body actually has time then to be able to allow the tissues of the body actually has time to release those toxins. And what happens is, if you do this really quickly, you can end up with a lot of that toxicity coming into the bloodstream. So, you have the detoxification organs being like kidney, liver, and if everything that's been sitting in those tissues comes into the body really quickly, it's why some people have really, really bad side effects. So timing is one of the number one issues that I have, as opposed to this approach of a longer term cleanse of the body, or even better, a long-term healthy eating plan. Okay, doing things in the wrong order. So many people think that by, say, without changing what they're eating and just adding supplements or herbs in on top of an already overloaded system, that's going to do the job. So what doesn't work is not changing your food and thinking that, herbs or whatever you're using to accompany a detox can do all the work for you. It doesn't work that way. You might as well flush them down the toilet. If you do not actually do it in the right order, where we're working with the actual rhythms and patterns of the human body, as opposed to just wanting a quick fix, then it doesn't work. Okay, so you're actually adding in supplements and things on top of a system that's already overloaded. And if your digestive capability isn't absolutely fabulous, and I don't know many people that have a fabulous absorption ability these days based on just the way that we eat, then you're basically throwing supplements and herbs in on top of a system that won't absorb them. Okay, so getting the foundation set to be able to absorb what you're going to take is really, really important. The principle of uniqueness. Juice fasting, not for everybody. Water fasting, definitely not for everybody. Warming, sort of paleo style diets and things like that, not for everybody. Everybody is different. Literally every single person's body is different. I really love the Ayurvedic approach to body typing. It's what I use when I create a detox or a wellness plan for a client. And I actually have to see them in person to be able to look at their skin, their eyes, their tongue, their personality, their lifestyle. There's so many things that have to come into a really, really efficient cleanse or plan that have to bring to light your uniqueness, the uniqueness of your body, what health issues you've had before, how you actually detoxify. Some people detoxify really well. They can eliminate toxins very easily. Other people have detoxification pathways that are not set up correctly from the beginning, and they really have trouble passing toxicity out of the body. So working with someone who can actually do it properly with you is also key. The other thing that I don't believe in, and the mistakes that I think people make with cleansing, is guesswork, which I guess comes down to doing things properly. If you're going to do a proper detoxification, and let's say you're going to aim to do one once a year or something like that, I don't believe in making assumptions and guessing. I think it's always better to really have a proper overview of your health through, say, live blood analysis, lab tests, for blood, hormones, all of those types of things. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it properly. Okay, so let's get into how it is that I like to work a detox program or a cleanse program or a wellness plan, which is the wording I prefer. The first thing that I want to do is make sure that we are weeding. So if we look at this like gardening, we want to weed, seed, grow, and flourish. So think of your garden. We don't just throw seeds on top and hope that it works. We have to make sure that the foundation is set properly first. We have to make sure there's sunlight and water and nutrients and all of the constituents that a garden needs to flourish. Your body is the same, okay? So there are certain herbs that we can use depending on your uniqueness and the reason why you're detoxing to be able to weed out what the problem is. Let's say you have a gut issue, a parasite issue, a bacterial overgrowth issue, a fungal issue, an inflammation issue. We have to actually weed out what the cause is of those issues. Or like I said before, you might as well throw those supplements down the toilet. So we really want to make sure that we're clear on the foods to avoid that can help to aggravate what the actual core reason is of why you're doing this. Let's say it's weight gain. It might actually be a hormonal issue. Let's say it is a fungal or a bacterial issue. Then we need to eliminate all the foods that those bacteria can feed off. So we have to actually take out or weed out what the problem is first. And of course we can use herbs to be able to really help with that, to really help with the weeding. There's certain herbs that kill off or speed up the process of eliminating what the actual problem is in the beginning. Then it's time to start planting seeds. So we need to add in the nutrients. So if you're just doing juice fasting and you're not getting all of the nutrients that you specifically need, let's say that your body actually does need a lot of protein to be able to deal with, say, inflammation or healing. Protein has a lot to do with healing. So if there is issues, we may need protein in that seeding phase. So starting to plant what it is the gut needs to flourish. And this is where, when we look at digestive health, which is really the absolute core of your entire system, and when we're detoxing, what we're trying to do is reduce that digestive overload or toxicity or issues, which will help with all of the reasons why we wanted to do this in the first place. We need to plant what the gut loves to be able to flourish. And this is where fermented foods and drinks, bone broths and all of those amazing things come in. as well as a whole range of superfoods that we can add in to be able to help the gut really become strong and flourish. Then we start to grow. And if we're dealing, depending on what the original issue is we're dealing with, when we start to grow, we want to be able to flourish all of the bodily systems. So if the issue is weight gain in terms of hormones, then we start to do our hormone balancing here. If the issue was energy, then we start to look at the herbs that we can bring in for that. So there's so many things that when we start to really grow, it's about really helping that garden grow for the long term. And this is why a 3-day cleanse is crazy. You're not actually accomplishing anything other than probably overloading your system with a toxic release into both your bloodstream, which will affect your cells, which will then affect every other bodily system. So for an example, in terms of timing for weed seed grow, for me, it works over a 12-week period. That depends on what it is that you've actually got going on, but that's a realistic time frame for the body to actually weed out any of the problems, to rebuild the nutrient density and to be able to then grow a garden. If you think about farming, it takes about 12 weeks to bring something to fruit, and sometimes even longer. So, and then when we look at flourishing, for me, it's about doing this over the long term. So looking at long-term healthy eating as opposed to stripping the body and then going back to what I was doing before, so the whole thing becomes pointless. So I hope this has helped you understand a little bit about detoxifying and cleansing, why we do it, how not to do it, and following this garden method and really considering, let's say if you're going to create your own cleanse, I really want you to think about this. I want you to think about what the actual core problems are, maybe getting some support and help in identifying what they are, and setting yourself up a plan that's more realistic over the long time. Realistic doesn't mean you're going to eat strictly for 12 weeks. I do have clients that do that. If they're really unwell, they kind of have to. But most of the time, instead, what we do is follow the beautiful rule of 80-20. So 80% of the time, I'm going to do my best. 20% of the time, life's kind of going to get in the way, and I'm going to allow myself some little treats. And think about doing that over the long term so that your body doesn't need to get to the point where it needs a full-on cleanse or a detox. So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.